Hello. Hey everyone. Please let me know if this is working. I am not the most adept at this streaming thing. So if you guys can see me and hear me, please let me know. Let's see. Hello. Okay. Looks like it's working. Well, everybody, thanks for stopping by here. I really appreciate it. It's the first live stream I've done on my YouTube channel in a really long time. So I appreciate you guys coming on by to talk some BatMay, some Batman the Animated Series. I wanted to go over a bunch of stuff. I just kind of wanted to be a little celebration of finishing 4 years of this show, getting through every single episode of Batman the Animated Series and the new Batman Adventures. I consider it pretty much one show. A lot of people don't, but I kind of fall on the other side of that. So tonight, I don't know how long this is going to last. I have a little breakdown of things that I want to go through, but throughout the whole night, this can be about whatever you guys want. Any questions you guys have, put them in the chat there. I'll do my best to get through all of them. Again, I'm not the best at doing this by myself. Usually Heather is handling all this stuff on our Twitch stream. But this doesn't have to be just about Batman. We could talk about fanscription. We just had 2 fanscription this month outside of doing BatMay. So a video every day this month plus 2 fanscriptions, which is just an insane amount of work. But yeah, even like wrestling or Power Rangers. I went and saw the Little Mermaid live action movie today. So if you want to hear my thoughts on that, let me know in the chat there. But we could really talk about whatever. Obviously, the first thing I want to go over is like what we're going to do. I want to thank you guys, of course, and go over what we're going to do with BatMay going forward. And I kind of wanted to tell the story of how BatMay came about and go through the options of what we might do going forward. So again, thank you guys so much for watching BatMay over the past 4 years. It's just been a crazy blur, but at the same time feels like 1,000 years. So I'm personally glad that it's over, but it never really is over, is it? We'll get to talking about that in a minute. So I did want to go over how I started BatMay. This was in the middle of the pandemic, so this is 2020, and we had a meeting, like a Channel Awesome meeting, kind of about what can we do to put some more content up, because for whatever reason everybody was losing viewers during that time period, like TV, everyone. It was a very weird phenomenon because everyone was stuck in their house for a while, but things across YouTube, across everything was going down. And I had the idea of doing a monthly series covering Batman the Animated Series for the past like 2 years before this, so like 2018 2019 maybe is when I sort of came up with the idea to try and do basically a Disney-cember version of Batman the Animated Series where we're covering every episode, and it could be every May we'll go over one video per day. And this was all kind of confirmed very close to May. I think it was like it was March or April. I had to have been March, I think, because that first you'll notice the first season, I guess you want to call it, the first year of BatMay, I was putting out 3-minute videos. I had to get those out super quick. I mean, super fast. So those videos are shorter. That's kind of one of the things I don't want to say I regret, but it's one of the aspects that I wish I had a little bit more time on, because as you've seen, like each year, the videos have gotten longer and longer, where this year, combined when all the videos are together, is like 4.5 hours. And I've had, 10-minute videos, 16-minute videos, 14-minute videos dedicated to just one episode. So going back to the first year of BatMay and seeing like 2, 3, 4-minute episodes, I want to at least have, at the very lowest, 5 minutes plus now. So I wouldn't say, again, it's a regret, but it is something that's very different because of the short amount of time that I had. I was writing and editing as May was going along, so I was maybe like a week ahead. It was a rush, but I got it done. And that was just a test to see if you guys wanted to keep going with it. And the response was crazy. It was way more than I expected, more than I think the channel itself expected. the love for this show is not just generational. I think that it's gone beyond that. It's gone to multiple generations now. It's past people older than me and younger than me love this show, and a lot of people do consider it the definitive Batman. And I think a lot of that, outside of the series itself, has to do with Kevin Conroy voicing Batman in the Arkham games, which are so wildly popular. And I've never even played through all of the Arkham games. I'm not gonna lie, it's not something I've just I missed over the years. So I think that Arkham City and those games going on with Kevin Conroy as Batman really reinvigorated interest for a new generation in the series, and to hear him as Batman. So yeah, that was just such a great surprise to see that so many people were interested. So I was happy that people were like excited about it, because I am so excited about Batman the Animated Series, and I wanted to go through the whole show. If there's something you want to know about me, it's that if I start something, I'm like desperate to finish it. If I say I'm going to finish it, like I got to cross the finish line somehow. I don't like abandoning things, especially projects that people really like. So getting that going was a blessing, and it ended up kind of being a curse, as I'll get into. But I came back with 2021, and the response was still great. I got to research more, and the videos started getting longer. 2022, I had a lot of issues going on, so I feel like I kind of owe you guys a little bit of an explanation for 2022, because that was just half of the amount of episodes that year. Honestly, I was planning on doing that this year, because just the amount of episodes, I was going to do half a month at the end to wrap it up. But because of a lot of health issues that I had last year going on, which I won't get into the specifics of, but I mean, there was some crazy stuff happening with me that last year. And also some big life events that were happening. That was just, something I had to do last year for time purposes. And, on top of doing BatMay, I was still doing a full month of Twilight-tober Zone, so 31 episodes of that. And even though we only did 3 fanscriptions last year, those were massive, those Batman and Robin ones. Of course, the third one came out in January this year, but I was working on it a majority of 2022. Those were like massive undertakings. And I'll talk a little bit about fanscription later, but I did want to bring that up because, BatMay was supposed to be half the amount of episodes this year. It ended up being last year, but we did finish. And that's the whole point of this, is that we crossed the finish line together. You guys have stuck with me for so long on this. Think about, this is a whole college career. 4 years of watching me talk about the show. And I want to say, I know I'm not perfect. I know I've gotten some details wrong about the series itself, some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, or even just, little notes about the episodes. I know I've gotten little things wrong as we go along, but I'm just one guy, and I don't know if anybody knows the truth of the behind-the-scenes stuff. I mean, no one is helping me with this. I'm writing, I'm watching, I'm editing, I'm recording the voiceover, obviously. I'm doing all this completely myself. I mean, I know a lot of people think like Doug is, lending a hand sometimes, or, I don't know, Rob or someone is helping out in some way, but no, this is just me. This and Twilight-tober Zone is just me, strictly. Of course, we have the skits with Twilight-tober Zone, but I'll get to that later. So, yeah, I definitely wanted to explain myself a little bit on that, and I appreciate you guys sticking with me through last year to finish the series this year. The response this year, if I could just talk about 2023, has been so positive. I mean, I think even stronger than in years past. I know a lot of people don't want to see this end. It's been such a tradition now on Channel Awesome that people don't want to see it like wrap up. They want to see BatMay keep going into Batman Beyond and everything, and I'll talk about that in a minute as well. But I think that the fondness that they have for the show itself, I'm talking about Batman the Animated Series, bled over into BatMay, and people kind of not consider themselves the same thing, obviously, but having me talk about it has become this routine. And now we're not going to have that routine the same way anymore. And I get like that too with things. When things end, it's sad. But, we move on to other things. And BatMay's not completely over. There's still some things that I'll be doing, as I talked about at the end of the Judgment Day review that just went up today. I can't believe it's May 31st. BatMay Day, we'll call it, as we wrap up 2023. So, of course, when BatMay launched in 2020 as well, I got so excited from that's when I kind of got the idea for Twilight Tober Zone, and I launched things into into Twilight Tober Zone like right away out of that. I just got so excited that people were interested in that, and yeah, that's like 2 monthly series. It's too much. Let's just be honest. It's taken up so much time that it's just been, there's been a lot of sacrifice in terms of just personal time to dedicate to those 2 series, just themselves, outside of fanscript. Fanscription itself is a full-time job, but I'm rambling now. Let's get into some of the more stuff that I was talking about here. So I did actually, I don't think I've told anyone outside the channel yet, but I did email back and forth with a few of the people who worked on the show, and that's due to Doug's friendship with Tom Ruger, who he had on to do, I think, like the Animaniacs review and some stuff. I think he was involved in on the channel. So I was emailing with Tom Ruger. I wanted to interview him for the show, and he was totally down. But by the time I reached out to him, this was going into the 2nd year of BatMay, and he said that he wasn't really involved with almost any of the episodes that I was covering that year. So he told me that he would put me in contact with a few of the people that actually were deeply involved in it. So he talked to Paul Dini for me. He talked to Kevin Altieri. He talked to Dan Reba, the directors from the show and writers. He told me that Paul Dini declined, which, I mean, I get the guy's busy. He's one of the best comic book writers or comic book show writers ever, in my opinion. And he's also working on the Batman The Adventures Continue comic series, which continued the animated series continuity in a way, at least. So I wasn't surprised by that. But I did hear from Kevin Altieri, who's one of the biggest directors there behind maybe Boyd Kirkland, and Dan Reba, who's just a DCAU mainstay, a staple. And we went back and forth a few times, a couple years in a row, actually. And we had everything set up with like, all right, how about this time for an interview? And they were very excited for it. They were really surprised by the amount of love and the attention that the BatMay videos got the past couple years the first year that I did it. So they really wanted to come on and talk about it. But then whenever I tried to schedule something, I never heard back. So I tried it for 2 years. I didn't get them to come on. This past year, I was just kind of like, it's okay. I'll just finish up BatMay. I've got enough stuff on my plate already without having to worry about some interviews, which I'd be already extremely nervous about to talk to these guys anyway. But Dan Reba was extremely complimentary. He emailed me after one of the BatMays. He said he couldn't do the interview, but after BatMay was finished, he gave me some behind-the-scenes information, and it was just so cool to talk to him. Kevin Altieri is also great to talk to as well, but we just couldn't secure those interviews, unfortunately. So we didn't get those, but hopefully you guys are satisfied with how BatMay worked out anyway. I did want to show off, this whole past year has kind of been in memory of Kevin Conroy. I dedicated this whole series basically, and especially this last year, to the passing of Kevin Conroy and to what a great Batman he was. And, I wanted to make sure that Kevin Conroy was not the only person involved in the show who passed away. I think Michael Reeves passed away earlier this year, who's a massive creative force in the writing sense on the show. So, rest in peace to him, and all, like Hilary J. Bader, writer from this year, and a bunch of other DCAU shows outside of Batman and New Batman Adventures. But yeah, it was just a lot of people. Martin Pasco, I put a dedication to, I think, in one of the episodes as well. So it's dedicated to all those folks. I don't want to say it's just Kevin, because the whole show, I mean, he was the face of it, or the voice of it, I should say. But he's not the entire show. There's so many people behind the scenes making that work. I did want to show that I did meet Kevin Conroy in, I think, 2012, something like that, at C2E2, one of the first C2E2s, the Chicago Comic Entertainment Expo. I went to his panel where he trash talked Christian Bale's Batman voice, which was hilarious because it's like the true Batman up there just going off on how Christian Bale sounded as Batman in the Dark Knight movies. He said that he didn't blame, I remember he said he didn't blame Christian Bale for it. He blamed Christopher Nolan, the director, for letting him sound like that. And I remember him literally being so animated about it, no pun intended, where he would be like, "You sound ridiculous." He was really like going in on Christian Bale's Batman voice. And I think there's some YouTube videos out about it. But I waited in line for a long time to meet him. I didn't get a picture with him, unfortunately. If I went back in time, I probably would have done that instead of getting autographs. But I did get autographs. I got Mr. Conroy's headshot right here from years back. It says, "To Walter from The Dark Knight, Kevin Conroy." So, young man right there. I also got, this is pre-Blu-ray, the first season of the first volume, I'm sorry, of the Batman the Animated Series DVD set signed by him, right on the cape there. Hopefully you can see that. Also, a friend of mine, Justin, had a vintage Batmobile from the animated series still packaged up. So I brought that. He gave it to me. I brought that, and I got him to sign it there. So I don't. If anything is worth anything, it might be this. But I'm not planning on selling that anytime soon. So that's some of my Kevin Conroy memorabilia, and it was just great to meet him. And if you guys remember Porter from Awesome Comics and some of the other stuff we've done on Channel Awesome, he tried to get Kevin Conroy to do like his voicemail, and Kevin was like, "No, I can't do that. I'm sorry." He was like, I'm sure everyone on the line was asking him to do that, but it was a funny moment. And those are my memories of meeting the man himself in person. Extremely nice guy. Obviously was going out of his way to just be so nice to everybody. And, I asked him if he was going to be doing any movies coming up, and he said no. But then I think a Justice League movie came out like right after that. So I don't know if he didn't know about it or couldn't say anything, but it was pretty funny when I saw that, like not too long after the convention. So again, guys, 4 years of BatMay covering Batman the Animated Series. Workload was crazy. Like I said, a lot of health problems and life events went on in that time period, but we've made it through. Now, the title of this video, What's Next for BatMay, is the main thing that I wanted to talk about here. If you did watch the Judgment Day review, I addressed some of this at the end, and what I said there is true. It's not really, I don't want to say possible, because anything's possible, right? It's not feasible for me to go on and do a whole nother series when I still have to get through Twilight-Tober Zone, when I'm still doing Fanscription every month, and, various other duties, like I'm going to be on Nostalgia Critic, and I co-wrote this Nostalgia Critic episode that's coming up soon, which you guys, I think, will appreciate if you watch BatMay. And it's not just me co-writing that. I mean, I don't want to exactly say what it is, because I don't know if Doug has talked about it yet, but a lot of us are on there, and we got to co-write stuff, and, so outside of my shows, I'm still doing a little bit of stuff here and there for Nostalgia Critic, doing cameos or whatever. And it's also difficult because, we don't really have a studio to work out of right now. I don't know if you guys know about any of that, but our studio had the roof torn off, and it's been flooded, and there's a big battle going on with that right now, but I'm sure you'll hear more about that later when we know what really is, what the end game is with all of that. But I can't go into the studio right now to really work with anyone, and that's another unfortunate thing. But so the one thing, or the main show that everyone has been asking me to cover as a sequel to BatMay was BatMay Beyond, which is hilarious because a lot of people think that they're the first person to come up with that. A lot of people think like that like BatMay Beyond is like this, I've got it, BatMay Beyond, like it's the one thing that no one has ever thought of before. But yeah, let me see if I could bring in an image so I could have some visual aids for you guys. Let me see here. But I love Batman Beyond. I've talked about it before. I absolutely adore that show. There's nothing that I would probably cover besides, if I did go on with BatMay as a series, that would be it. That's what I would do, would be doing Batman Beyond. Let's see if I could get in. There it is. Hopefully you guys can see that. So, yeah, I love the show. It is a continuation. And I know like the chat's filling up, so I'll get to those questions and you guys' comments in a minute here. Sorry about that. But I mean, that's 52 episodes. That would take another 2 years to get through that. And if I were to proceed with BatMay as a series with, monthly, every day per month videos, it would be Batman Beyond. Absolutely. And I've seen a lot of love for that. And I totally understand why, because it is really a direct continuation of the show, of the new Batman Adventures and Batman the Animated Series. So it would be great to keep going from that. But, at this point, it's not looking likely, at least not next year. The next one that people have talked about a lot, let me bring in the next visual aid for you guys to see, is a show that I am not as familiar with as some other people, and that is The Batman, the 2004 animated show. So I saw a few episodes of this not too long ago. I saw, I guess it was kind of a long time ago, because I think I may have seen it in its first run, but I saw some stuff I rechecked it out later, is basically what I'm trying to say here. This is not my favorite interpretation of Batman. I know a lot of people like it, but I think if anyone was going to cover this as a full series, I really think it needs to be someone who loves this show, and this is just not my thing. So if people, if you've been asking me about this and you've been wondering why I don't just go to this show, that would be why. I'm just not a big fan of the show, unfortunately. So besides that, moving on to the next show that, would be a possibility, would be a show that I'm rewatching right now and totally loving, which is Batman the Brave and the Bold. My goodness, what a great show. I love this show. I just watched the episode last night where Red Tornado makes his son, and it's super emotional. This show is very sneaky because it gives you like this very playful version of Batman on the exterior. You know what I'm saying? And it is a lighter tone, and they directly mention that in one of the episodes that I saw with BatMay. But it is very emotional sometimes. They're not afraid to get serious. They're not afraid to do outlandish things and still have a good story to it. I love this show. It has a variety of tones, and they all work. So I wouldn't be opposed to covering this show if I was going to keep going. But at this point, it's not looking like that's going to probably happen. Before I get into some other stuff, I should probably read some of your guys' chats and stuff here. So let me go through this. Please be patient, and I will catch up on this in 1 second here. Let me see. If you guys have any questions, just drop it in the chat. I'll do my best to get through all this stuff. Let's see here. Everyone's saying it's working. That's great. It was such a journey, and I would love to see BatMay Beyond, Supermay, Justice, July, Static September, and more. I know a lot of people want to see the DCAU stuff going. I understand. I love the DCAU. It's not for a lack of love for those series. I love all of them. Justice League Unlimited, Batman Beyond, of course. Even like the Zeta Project, I haven't seen. And then recently I checked it out for the first time, and I actually really liked it too. People are talking about always going to Teen Titans, Justice League Young Justice. Teen Titans wasn't really my thing either. I know it's kind of debatable if it was in the DCAU or not, but that wasn't really a show that you would want me to cover because I don't really have too much of a fondness for it. Young Justice I really like as well, even though the third season, when they brought it back on HBO Max, I wasn't like a huge fan of what they did, and I kind of dropped off it. I loved the first two seasons. I really wanted to come back, and when it did, I was kind of let down with the results, unfortunately. How would you rate the villains of Batman the Animated Series? This is from BD Knight. Joker's got to be number one. I would probably say Two-Face number two. I really like the Mad Hatter. He's got to be up there. Scarecrow in the new Batman Adventures is great. He just doesn't get a lot of screen time. There's a lot of great villains. Even Clayface is great, especially early on. There's so many. There's so many great villains. That's kind of what makes Batman stand out, right? Excited for Across the Spider-Verse. This is from Angel of Death. I can't wait for 2099. Yeah, I'm a big Miguel O'Hara fan. I love Spider-Man 2099. I got a t-shirt of him and everything, and I have some of the compilations that Marvel Comics released. Love Spider-Man 2099. Very excited to see what they do with Across the Spider-Verse. I'm going to see it tomorrow. I'm so hyped. I saw, like I think I mentioned earlier, I saw Little Mermaid earlier today, so it's going to be back-to-back days at the theater, which is good for me. What is the title behind me, asks Blue Winged Panther 12. Well, over here is the WCW United States Championship. I have that signed by a bunch of wrestlers, too. I have Jerry the King Lawler, Sheamus, X-Pac, Jimmy Valiant, Harley Race, DDP. A lot of signatures on that there belt. This is the WWF Undisputed Championship version 1, which is the better version, which is the slightly smaller version that Triple H first introduced. Hogan wore, and I think when Hogan got beat by Undertaker, they made it bigger, and that one's okay, but yeah, I like the smaller one a little bit better. Those are my two of my favorite designs back there for wrestling belts. I see a lot of people saying thank you. If I don't respond directly, I apologize. Thank you guys, and you're welcome for, your welcome sounds so like pompous. You know what I mean. I appreciate you guys sticking with me, and thank you for watching. You guys are the real MVPs. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, we wouldn't have gotten to keep going if you guys weren't watching. Fire Marshal Bill Burns asks, when is the next unboxing video? Whenever the Lightning Collection comes out with another damn helmet, man. They got to get the Yellow Ranger and the Black Ranger to come out with... They got to get those helmets out. I want to complete my collection. I got a bunch of them up there. I really want to get that full shot. I've been dreaming of it for years, to have all of the Power Ranger helmets in a row and just be able to look them over and really be proud of of my nostalgia, right? Of all the money I spent on these helmets of a kids' TV series. Let's see what else we got here. This is from Wences Acosta. What are your thoughts on this past weekend between Night of Champions and Double or Nothing? We got spoiled as fans. Yeah, I really haven't watched WWE since WrestleMania. I went all, way off on Twitter because I was so pissed off. I went to WrestleMania night 1 this year. It was an amazing show. Then with Cody losing in night 2, I was just very disillusioned. And I've kept up with things a little bit, but I haven't watched a full show in so long. And I'm not too hot on the Saudi shows. Kind of, I don't know, they kind of leave a bad taste in my mouth when WWE's kind of, they do things that probably are a little questionable sometimes. And that's not to respect anyone from that country or anything like that. Just how they go about things is a little weird sometimes. I didn't get to see Double or Nothing either. I was working editing Fanscription the entire day and night, so I didn't get a chance to watch it. But I am going to the first Collision show, AEW Collision. So Punk's got to be back, right? Punk's got to be back. And regardless if you like him or not, I just want to see the guy back. So I'm very excited for that. Chandler Burke says, love the Ariel What If, a better remake, to be honest. Well, I appreciate that. It's a very dark version. It's the darkest fanscription we've ever done, for sure. What does it say? Mikla Samuel, I think it says. What do you think about covering Superman the Animated Series in September? Something like Supertember. Well, that was going to be the next thing I was going to talk about, so let's just go into that really quick. Let me bring in the visual aid. It's funny because I loved the Superman show as well, and that show really got better as it went along. Of course, it's the next DCAU show after Batman the Animated Series, so it had this big uphill battle to climb and a quality level that I don't think it's quite as good as Batman the Animated Series, but in terms of Superman, it's a great show. So I actually, here's some behind the scenes stuff for you. I pitched doing Souptember, that's what I was going to call it, Souptember, after doing Batman, or after doing the first BatMay. I pitched that, or doing something in October like Twilight Zone, because I love the Twilight Zone, or even doing something like Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark to kind of cater to the millennial demographic. I love those shows as well. The channel wanted me to do something more spooky for October. So we didn't get Superman the Animated Series, or we didn't get Souptember. We got Twilight Tober Zone instead, which I'm totally fine with. I'm glad how that turned out. And you guys mostly voted for Twilight Zone as the monthly series when I put that up as a poll on Twitter and Facebook and my YouTube channel. I asked what you guys wanted out of the 3 October ones, and most of you guys picked Twilight Zone, so that's how that worked out. Yeah, Superman September would be what it would be the show title. If we'll ever do it, probably not. I mean, I want to do all this stuff, man. I just don't. I'm only one guy, so that's the unfortunate thing about it. That's the sad reality. But I do love that show as well. Let's see. People saying they love Twilight Zone. I appreciate it. September, yes. What you playing on that SNES Mini? I mostly play Super Punch Out on there. It's one of my favorites to play on there. It's just tough because it's the HDMI lag is there, so it's like not quite up to speed. Like I play the regular Punch Out game, the first Punch Out on the NES Mini, and it's like impossible to beat that because of the delay of the HDMI lag. So it's a little frustrating, but it's still fun to play, especially the SNES. I want to really beat Super Mario World because I never beat it, and I have it on there now, so hopefully I could do that one of these days. Apenis Geek says, is there a chance of a BatMay Beyond or Supermay Justice July, Static September, or something like that? So I already talked about Batman Beyond and Supermay. Justice July. So I've seen so many people say Justice League. Justice League. I appreciate the enthusiasm. I love you guys for putting that out there. I think Justice League is not the best title. If I were to cover Justice League, it would be called January Justice. January Justice. It flows. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would do. Would be January Justice. Let's see what we got here. Lots of thank yous. I appreciate that, guys. Arkham Asylum. Yeah, a lot of people really liked the Arkham Asylum games. I really kept them up on the Kevin Conroy Batman. 4 more years. Go for a full doctorate, says King Croker. King Croker, how many degrees do you want me to get, man? Oh, no. I'm going to be a resident for life. Do I need some help with the edits, asked BD Knight. I mean, yeah, but it would have to be someone who's already working for Channel Awesome, unfortunately. So, and that's just doesn't look like it's really possible. Thanks for everyone saying thank you. I appreciate it, guys. BatMay Day, yeah. May 31st, I declare as BatMay Day. Let's see what else we got here. What was your favorite Batman the Animated Series episode, Walter? This is from Mizorlord 13. Mizorlord. Well, I've said it in the episode that I covered, but it's Perchance to Dream. By far my favorite. Mad Hatter as the villain, all that. Like I absolutely love that episode. Once we get through some of this other stuff, I'm gonna give you guys my favorite episodes from each year of BatMay. I have that queued up here, so we're gonna go through my favorite episodes of each year that I've covered. So for 2020, what were my favorite episodes, 2021, and so on. We'll get to that in a few minutes here. Let's see here. I could see you reviewing Beast Wars since you're a big fan of that too. I do love Beast Wars. I've got some Beast Wars up on my shelf over there. I would love to do Beast. I would love to cover all this stuff, guys. I really would. Covering Batman is just the beginning. I would love to do more. Would you say that it was this is from Alan. Would you say that it was a passion project of yours? I can tell you love this show and your reviews were literally the best I heard from the show. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it was definitely a passion project. I would not have kept going under these circumstances with so much work to do by myself if I didn't love it. It was definitely a passion project. Let's see. Love Beast Wars. Everyone talking about Beast Wars. What live-action Joker, this is from Fire Marshal Bill Burns again, what live-action Joker do you believe was closest to the animated series Joker? Oh, that's a good question. It's got to be Jack Nicholson. It's got to be Jack Nicholson because he had the deadly and the playful side down really well. It can't be Heath Ledger. I love Heath Ledger. He's probably number 1 or 1B with him and Mark Hamill, but it's got to be Jack Nicholson. I think he's got the more deadly side than the Cesar Romero version, so I would go with him. Let's see what we got. Shirley Walker, also, yes, Shirley Walker, also I'm such a massive fan of her music. I listened to her music a lot on Spotify when I was writing and everything. I mean, she's one of the best parts of that show. Rest in peace to her as well. She was honestly, in my opinion, one of the main reasons why that show works so well is because of her music. I can't say enough good things about her work on the show and the other composers as well. Alita Ritmanis and a bunch of those other guys and girls. They did such a great job. Binge watched the animated series. That's awesome. Retro TV is cool. Thank you. That's the Twilight Tober Zone TV back there. That's what we used in the intro. I still use it to play some stuff on. I have my N64 hooked up to it right now. I got No Mercy going. You know what I'm saying? No Mercy. It's my favorite wrestling game. That and then Here Comes the Pain is right after. Let's see. Thank you. Oh, from Argentina, the Face Za. Thank you. Wow. It still boggles my mind that so many people watch Channel Awesome. People from all over the world check out the videos from Nostalgia Critic and stuff. So, I mean, it's crazy. I hope I get to meet some of you guys one day. It'd be so cool to travel around to another country. I know Doug has been to Dublin a few times and got to meet international fans. It'd be so cool to meet you guys one of these days. Maybe one day down the road that'll happen. Let's see what else we got here. A lot of people offering to help. I appreciate it, guys. It's got to be a Channel Awesome employee gig. But I really appreciate that you would say that. That means a lot. Let's see. Mad Hatter was amazing from BTAS. Yes, Hellboy RP. Absolutely right. Let's see. Surprised that no Spider-Man. Well, I mean, Spider-Man kind of took over BatMay with that second fanscription, didn't he? TV. Oh, I am the TV nostalgia critic, says Junior 22 Han. Thank you. Angel of Death says, you mentioned the Adventures continues, but having read them, they're not actually canon to the DCAU due to many inconsistencies. They said it's what we would have done if we hadn't done Batman Beyond. Oh, that's interesting. I have the first 2 volumes, but I haven't been able to read them yet because I've been working so much. Hopefully soon. Let's see. Hidden in the Universe Vault with Rhyme. Worst Batman the Animated Series episode? Is that what you're asking? Critters and the Terrible Trio have got to be right there. Those are terrible. Especially the Terrible Trio. My goodness, that was a bad episode. This is from Jake Shuster. Do you disagree with Nostalgia Critic on The Dark Knight Returns? He said it wasn't very good. I don't know if he's talking about the movie or the comic, but if he said it's not very good, I wholeheartedly disagree. It's one of my favorite comic books ever. Absolutely love Dark Knight Returns. Connor Avila asks, how do you feel about the Beast War movie coming out since you're a huge fan? It's not really a Beast Wars movie. It's a Transformers movie where they threw in a few Beast Wars guys. I'm going to see it because I love Beast Wars, but I'm not really looking forward to it. I was really hoping they would abandon the Michael Bay universe and kind of do their own thing with Beast Wars, but they didn't. So I'll see it because I love those characters, but I don't have high hopes for it. Although the director of that directed Creed 2, which is a really good movie, so I'll give it a shot. Let's see here. The combo of Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill made Batman Joker rivalry terrific in the animated series. Absolutely right. Let's see. Box Fox Scoot says, I personally still can't see the Joker redesign as a downgrade. At worst, it's a side grade. You can't really mess up the Joker. Yeah, I mean, I hate that design. I made no bones about that fact. I can't believe that they took away his lips and gave him black eyes. I think he looks so dumb. And even the green highlight in his hair is like the dullest green. It's almost gray. I can't believe what they did to him. I'm so glad they fixed him up in the Batman Beyond movie and in the Justice League series. So we agree to disagree on that. Let's see. I've seen people asking about the worst episode of Batman. I think I answered that. Angel of Death says, Doug said The Dark Knight Rises. Are we talking about... Oh, you mean not Dark Knight Returns? He said Dark Knight Rises. I don't like Dark Knight Rises very much either. If that's what you meant, not Returns. If it's Rises, I don't really like it very much. I don't hate it, but I don't really like it, especially considering Batman Begins and Dark Knight are so high on my list of Batman stuff. Nexus Norman's asking, do I bleed? I will. Let's see. I'm obsessed with... This is from Connor again. I'm obsessed with Channel Awesome. They're huge for me. I only got to meet you once at a screening for your movie. Oh, you came out to the Infinity Trinity premiere. Thank you. That means so much. The Infinity Trinity premiere was such a big thing to put together. Talk about work. My goodness. All those episodes are available on here for you guys to check out as well. Hopefully, sometime this year, I could do some commentary on it too, because I wanted to kind of bring the band back together to talk about it. But yeah, thanks very much. Really appreciate it. Do you feel... what do you feel is a very underrated 90s cartoon? Oh, I don't know. I got to look at a list or something, man. They put me on the spot. I don't know. Underrated 90s cartoon? Honestly, I kind of think Spider-Man the Animated Series is underrated, but I would have to look through more of them and give you a better answer at some point. Let's see. Oh, wow. I'm just noticing that we're getting super chats here. Sorry, guys. Let me see who gave these. Sorry. Nexus Nomad gave $50. Whoa, man. Whoa. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I guess super chats are open. But you guys, like, you do not have to give it super chat. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me that you would part with some of your hard-earned cash for some of the work that I've done, but you do not have to give me that. I appreciate it in any case. Nexus says, holy cow, Bat Nerd. Bittersweet. I stumbled upon this series 3 years ago and watched every episode. I hope you're proud because I am. Thank you for the entertainment. I will follow you on Instagram. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nexus. And yes, I am on Instagram now, guys. I think my link is in the description. Hopefully it works. I finally have an Instagram after so many years of trying to stay away from it. The engagement on Facebook is in the toilet. Twitter has got so many problems, but you know, when I have BatMay and stuff like that, things seem to go up and people seem to get interested again. But hopefully Instagram will get some more people on board and keep up with what I'm doing and everything. Oh my goodness, Alex Carson! Yo! Everybody, it's Alex Carson! What's up, Alex? You guys should check out Alex's channel. She makes really good content. You should check out her stuff. She says, hi, Walter. Hope you've been doing well. Hope you've been doing well, too, Alex. Thanks for stopping by the stream. Really appreciate it. We got another super chat. This is from Jerry Ramey. Jerry Ramey. Don't know how true this is, but I heard on the net a couple years ago that if BTAS continued, we would have seen Jason Todd turn up only to later go missing at the hands of Joker. I mean, I don't know if that's what they're doing right now in the Adventures Continue comics. It kind of sounds like that's something that might happen in there, but I haven't read them yet, so I'm not sure. But I know that Jason Todd is in it, and from what someone else just said here, that this is what would have happened if Batman Beyond didn't go forward. So thank you for the $10. Wow. Thanks, guys. I can't believe that's crazy that you guys would part with some of your hard-earned cash to for the work that I've done. That's so nice of you. Thank you, guys. Let me see. Giovanni or Elena asks, you joked about it, but I would 100% watch you cover all the Three Stooges shorts. Look, man, honestly, if I was to cover anything else after Twilight Zone, it would be the Three Stooges. I would cover every single episode, or it's not an episode, short. Every feature they've ever done. I would cover everything because I freaking love the Three Stooges. I don't know if you guys could see that there, but this is a framed picture of Mo, Larry, and Curly that I think my uncle had, that my dad somehow came in possession of and was just in my attic for years at my parents' house. And when I was in my teens, I was like, what is this? Like, I'm putting this up. I think we fixed like the broken glass in it, and I put it up, and it's one of my prized possessions. I love the Three Stooges. Absolutely love the Three Stooges. And I was so proud that I came up with Curly. I kept thinking for such a long time, like, what would be for Curly? Because, like, nothing goes along with it. You got January and Movember's very easy. Shemptember's very easy. And then when I came up Curly, I was like, it's the best creative thing I've ever done. Curly. Let's do Curly, guys. The problem with covering the Three Stooges in the same way I'm doing Batman and Twilight Zone is that I don't think a lot of people would watch it, unfortunately. The Stooges aren't as popular as they were, regardless of how popular they were when they were still around. And even in the 60s and 70s, there was a time in the 90s and early 2000s when they were getting replayed a lot on kind of like syndicated, like more local stations. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Sven Gulli and Rich Coase, but he hosted a show called Stoogepalooza on WCIU in Chicago, and I watched it every Sunday. I remember like loving it so much that I know my brothers loved it as well. And when I was little, I would hide in the bathroom. This one time, I hid in the bathroom so my brothers could stay up later to watch it, because I heard my dad say, as soon as Walter gets out of the bathroom, you guys are going to bed. So I was like, well, I gotta stay. They gotta keep watching the Stooges. They gotta keep going. No, I'll play the sacrifice. It's okay. It's for the Stoogedom. So that's one of the funny memories I still have. So I absolutely love the Three Stooges. And it would be great to cover that maybe on my personal channel in a few years or something. I don't know. But not anytime soon. I don't think you're going to see a Curly or Shemptember or anything. I would love to do that. I just don't think enough people would watch it. Let's see here. Mark Maley. Mark, I've talked to you a bunch. I'm sorry if I don't know how to pronounce your last name correctly, but Mark Maley. Hey, Walter, we should do another podcast interview soon for the Twilightober Zone. Are you going to do more skits this year? I love seeing more of your original writing and directing. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it'd be cool to do a podcast again. Drop me a line on Facebook or wherever I'm at these days. Yeah, I would love to do more Twilight Zone skits and stuff, the special segments that we did. I have some ideas for it. It's just going to be a matter of if I have enough time. I really want to do a few from this year that I'm covering, like as a parody that we usually do. So fingers crossed we can make it happen. But again, with the studio situation the way it is now, it wouldn't be possible. Hopefully, by the time we get around to shooting some of that stuff, as October nears, we can get into some place and do that. Because I love shooting those. It's some of the most fun I've ever had. Doing the shooting wise, I mean, doing the Doug transformation when we did the the change of the colored light that we took from the Long Live Walter Jameson Twilight Zone episode. Me and Jim were just like so happy with how it went, and Doug did such a great performance, and it was so exciting. One of my favorite things. So yeah, that was awesome. And thank you for saying that. I love doing those. Let's see where we're at here. This is for Angel Death again. What is your favorite Joker-centric episode in the DCAU? For me, it's two-parter Wild Cards from Justice League. It's probably the Laughing Fish. I love the Laughing Fish. And also his part in Mask of the Phantasm was great as well. Let me see. Have you played the SNES Batman game for the Sega CD? I have not, but I'll get into that in a second because I have something to say about that. Splathouse Idea says, are you a Shemp, Curly, or Joe fan? I grew up a huge Curly fan. Still my favorite. I love Curly with all my heart and soul. And when I used to see Shemp, I was always like, oh, Curly's not in the episode when I was little. But then I would always end up loving it. And I think that he is my favorite as an adult. Like I don't think Curly's ever going to be topped overall. But the more I watch, the more I love Shemp. I love Shemp. So Joe, I'm not a huge fan of. Joe Besser seemed like a nice guy. But, his whole, like, weird, like, effeminate thing he was doing, or I was never really, it was okay, but it was just like a weird choice, to make. I know that was like his personality in a lot of his other movies, so he was like playing up the persona. It was just odd in the Three Stooges. But yeah, I'm a big Curly fan and a big Shemp fan. Let's see here. Love you guys too. I'm seeing all the thank yous. Thank you very much. Let's see. Craig Bartlett, like a lot of comments on Instagram. Craig Bartlett, the creator of Hey Arnold. Hey man, that's an accomplishment if you like some of your Instagram comments. Alan Wood says, I would like to see you review Gargoyles. Funny story. We originally planned on doing a top 5 best Gargoyles episodes, but things got changed around with the top 5 show at the time, and it wasn't able to happen. I did watch, I was going to rewatch and taking notes on the first like 10 episodes, and then things kind of fell apart. So maybe one day I would love to do at least a top 5 of Gargoyles. Let's see. Hidden in the Universe Vault with Ryan says Goosebumps is my favorite TV show of all time, but do you remember the Goosebumps PC games from DreamWorks? No, I never played the PC games. I didn't have a PC growing up. I didn't have internet access until I was in college, folks. I didn't have a cell phone until I was in college. I'm a little bit older. I mean, I'm 34 now, so I graduated in 2007. When I started college, that's when I got my first flip phone, and I didn't have even internet access. It's the whole thing. And now that I'm making a living on the internet, it's kind of ironic, ain't it? Let's see. People saying if I would cover the Three Stooges, you would watch. I really appreciate that. I don't know. I would love to. I would love to. The October Limits, King Croker. Yeah, the Outer Limits would be cool to cover. Hidden in the Universe. I'm just going to say Hidden. Hidden says, do you like the Twilight Zone movie from 1983? Yes, I really like it. Not every segment's great, but man, I really like that movie, and especially because Burgess Meredith is narrating it. I mean, how can I not love it? Virgil says there are 2 other super chats you may have missed. Let me see. I don't know. How do I access those? Let me see. I don't want to miss anyone who's sent money, so I don't know how to. I'm not exactly sure how to look for those. If you sent something, let me know in the chat, and I'll read your thing. I thought I read all the ones that were there. My apologies if I didn't, guys. I'm sorry. But post another comment and say that you sent a super chat, and I'll answer your question. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see where we at here. Let's get back to the chat. Would you ever consider a top 10 Batman moments from Justice League / Unlimited? As much as I love the deep dive, I understand that it's a lot of work. But would a top 10 be an idea? If we brought back top 5, maybe like a top 5 Batman animated moments, and I could include some Justice League stuff, like from the epilogue episode from Justice League Unlimited, or from Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker, or something like that. Maybe that's kind of a good idea. Also, doing a Batman movie moments could be a good idea as well. Beyond Infinity, have you heard or played the game DC Universe Online? I have heard about it, and I think I may have used some stills of it and some fanscriptions, but I never played it. Jake Schuster asks, what are your thoughts on the Three Stooges Will Sasso movie, and have you seen the Mel Gibson biopic? I did see the Mel Gibson biopic. He directed? It was like the ABC movie of the week, right? Michael Chiklis was Curly. I can't remember who else was in it, but they were like kind of well-known names. I did see that, and that was like, that was dark. But I remember I loved the Stooges so much. I really liked seeing it because I loved learning more about them. I did see the Will Sasso movie, I think was it John Cryer was the other Stooge, was Larry, I think. Yeah, it was some stuff I liked, some stuff I really didn't like. I don't know why they put the Jersey Shore people in the movie. The Farrelly brothers, for me, I like either they're kind of hit and miss for me personally. Not gonna disparage if you guys like them or not, but yeah, I really like Will Sasso too. I think he's great. He's a big wrestling fan as well. I kind of wish they would have just done something more retro, but at the same time, you would complain about that. I would complain about that anyway. Stooge fans would be like, you can't replace the Three Stooges, and that's true. So it's kind of like maybe you should just leave it alone. That's one thing that I'm not sure you could do a modern version of well. But I'm glad that they tried to keep the Stooge legacy alive, and I appreciate that movie for that reason. Let's see. Let me see here. I lost my place here. One sec, guys. Trey Needham asks, what is my cartoon crush? I don't know if... man, I don't know. uh, I was never really big on like, oh, that cartoon character is hot. I was never big on that kind of thing. Like I know a lot of people are. Um, Not disparaging that as well. Just I don't know. I never really found a cartoon character that attractive. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. Sorry. Are there any DCAU characters? This is from Angel Death again. That were recast whose replacements you prefer? For me, I prefer Olivia Hussey as Talia, Tara Strong as Batgirl, and Jeffrey Combs as Scarecrow. Tara Strong as Batgirl is great. I like Melissa Gilbert. Mary Kay, I can't remember the girl who voiced her in the Sub-Zero movie, but Tara Strong is Batgirl to me. Way over. I know she's done Harley Quinn, and she's very well known for Harley Quinn. She does a great job. Arlene Sorkin is Harley Quinn. Tara Strong is Batgirl for me. I think that was an improvement from that character. Alan Woods, I knew this was going to come up. What did you think about the Power Rangers 30th anniversary? Okay. So I was going to review that, but I saw so many people loved it and so many people were so on board with it and just were gushing about it that I didn't really want to rain on anybody's parade. So I didn't post a review. I didn't really like it. I was pretty let down with that. It seemed like half a Hallmark movie. And I understand what they were trying to do. But when I've read those comics from Boom Studios, especially the ones that Kyle Higgins has done, and even that short film that they did with Jason David Frank to hype up the Shattered Grid story that they were going to do with the evil Tommy Oliver, the Lord Draken character, we saw what they could have done, and they didn't do it. And if this is the replacement, it pales in comparison, and I was severely disappointed. But I'm glad people like it, and I'm glad it got the original Mighty Morphin team back in people's minds, and maybe we'll get more of that sometime down the road, and maybe I'll like some of the other stuff they did. Let me see here. Let me see. East Base Productions. Hey, Walter, not really a question, but you're one of my favorite creators. Oh, thank you very much. Really love. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. Zachary Freeman says he sent one. I'm assuming you mean the super chat. What's your question, Zach? Sorry, I missed it. I don't know how to go back to look at old super chats on here. Just ask your question, get it in the chat, and I'll get to it, I promise. Let's see. Scott Sandler asks, so wait, I got in late. Is Walter only going to do Twilightober Zone for the original Twilight Zone series, not any of the subsequents? Yeah, I'm not going to cover like the 80s series or anything like that, or the the 2000 series or the Jordan Peele version. It's just going to be the classic Twilight Zone series. Treehouse of Horror in the month of October. I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons growing up. I was a little sheltered, and at least in that aspect. And I don't have a fondness for the Simpsons, so I wouldn't be the guy to do that. Maybe Ayana could do that. Let me see. JRR24. Oh, we got another super chat here. I'll get to this first, and I'll go back to the other questions. Let me see. This is from Virgil Nemodo. $10. Wow, thank you so much. Thanks for all your work. November was hard losing Kevin and JDF so close together. I know, man. That was rough. That was really rough. I actually met JDF again 2 weeks before he passed. Oh, jeez. Hope to meet you at a con or wrestling event one day. That would be great, Virgil. I'd love to meet you. Yeah, man. The JDF thing and Kevin Conn were happening so close together, especially considering what happened with JDF. Heartbreaker. Just an absolute heartbreaker. I met JDF twice. Once at ACEN, Anime Central, when a lot of the Rangers came. And it was finally something I was more interested in because I'm not a huge anime guy. I mean, I like Dragon Ball and stuff, but I'm not like a huge anime fan. So to see Power Rangers show up at an anime convention, I was so excited. So I got to meet those guys, took a picture with them. I posted it on social media when he passed away, so you could check out that old picture of me and him and my best friend Harry. And years later at C2E2, again with Brian Porter, I got to take a video of morphing with him, and I also got him to sign the soundtrack from the movie, from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, and a headshot of him I got over there as well. So yeah, it was rough. That was rough. Let's see. Let's get back to the other chats here. I had like this big agenda, and there's way more people in here and questions than I thought. I didn't think this many people would turn up, which is a good problem to have, right? Let's see here. Junior or JR 2022 Han says, Will Sasso, the Three Stooges movie, it was of its time. Yeah, that's for sure. King Croker says, everyone's got a waifu. Yeah, I got to think about it. King Croker, no, sorry. Connor is asking, will you ever bring back Top 5? It was always our intention to do Top 5 once in a while, but Heather got busy with doing streaming stuff. I got busy with literally everything else. and Ayana's doing her own thing and pops in once in a while. So I would love to bring back Top 5, hopefully once in a while. It'd be nice, but I don't see one on the horizon anytime soon. Hey, Walter, this is from O or Zero. Hey, Walter, you said you use his book. Have you ever met Mark Scott Zickery? I have not. I would love to meet Mr. Sci-Fi, but I have not met him in person. That would be really cool to have him sign a book of mine. Combs is Great Scarecrow, yes. Jake Schuster's asking if I've heard Tim Curry's Joker. I did hear Tim Curry's Joker. I'm glad they went with Mark Hamill. That's all I'll say. I love Tim Curry, by the way. Not his fault. What scene in the animated series best epitomized the spirit of Batman? Oh, man. The spirit of Batman. Honestly, I could say a bunch of different moments, but the episode from Harley's Holiday where Batman talks to Harley Quinn about I had a bad day once too, and he gives her that dress that she accidentally stole when she was trying to lead a normal life after being released from Arkham. That is Batman right there. Having faith in people and not giving up on people, but never losing the edge that makes him Batman. That's the first moment that stands out to me. Batman Noah 284469 is asking, what is my favorite number one Batman animated series episode? It's Perchance to Dream, and I'll get into some of my other ones later. Let me see. This from Straw Hat Prime. A year ago when Doug did his Q&A, I asked, were you going to do Arrow month or April or August? But Rob said you was a fan. But since The Flash finally wrapped up, maybe a Flash them on February. I haven't kept up with The Flash. I really got to catch up. But that's not a series that I would want to review every episode of. I like the first couple seasons. It kind of dropped off after that. Zachary Freeman asked, I met B. Jordan Gibson, artist on the Batman animated series Tie-In Comics and MomoCon, just this last weekend and gave BatMay a shout out. Oh, great. I love BatMay and hope you get a chance to do it through all the DCAU. Well, thank you for giving a shout out there. That's awesome. Angel of Death asks, are you a fan of Avatar The Last Airbender and Avatar The Legend of Korra? I am. And you know what? My brothers, my younger brother especially, grew up with that show, and a lot of my younger cousins. And I would catch it here and there, but I was always like, I'll get to it eventually. I finally got to it, guys. Was it 2021, I think? I love it. I love it so much. I've had ideas to do a fanscription on it. I'm not sure if anyone would like what I have to do about it, and I'm still relatively new to the fandom, so I don't want to do something that's already been done in like a comic or a manga or anything else. So, but I have an idea that would be really cool for a what if. So maybe we'll see that eventually. Am I going to get Mask of the Phantasm 4K Blu-ray? I already have it on Blu-ray as a part of my animated series Blu-ray set, so I don't think I'm going to get it on 4K, no. At least not anytime soon. JR24, you seem to skip my question. Ask it again, JR. Sorry. Angel of Death, again, I really like the Batman, while not quite as good as BTAS. Some characters like Catwoman, Hugo Strange, Batgirl, and Firefly were much better handled than in BTAS. It also has a unique Clayface. That's awesome. Wasn't my thing from what I saw. Also, that they did the Dracula crossover movie that apparently some people like. I watched it and like hated it. So I don't think I'm the guy that you want to talk about that show. Virgil says, my This Is Batman moment was Ace's passing an epilogue. That's a good one. That's a real good one. Still salty that it didn't actually end the series. Yeah, understand that. O says, you mentioned this before in Twilight Zone, I'm guessing. What is the story of Ray Bradbury and Rod Serling? Well, I'm going to talk about the episode that Ray Bradbury actually has writing credit for this year, which is I Sing the Body Electric. A little tease for it. So Ray Bradbury is like the godfather of like these sci-fi books and everything. I mean, like the guy's a legend, right? And Serling really wanted him to be heavily involved in the show, but Bradbury's scripts kept getting turned down by Serling and or the network, and Bradbury thought that Serling was ripping him off on some of the stories that he was doing, and Serling never did that on purpose. Even Bradbury admitted this, but it was kind of a subconscious thing where he had to come up with so many episodes. I mean, he wrote 90-something episodes of that Twilight Zone show that he, subconsciously maybe borrowed an idea or something. As soon as he realized that, he would try to give the writer credit. He never wanted to take an idea, from somebody like that. But they ended up, at least from Bradbury's end, not getting along because of that. And I'll get into more information about it later. But it's unfortunate because it would have been really cool to see some more Ray Bradbury Twilight Zone episodes. Let me see. JRR24, is there a comic book you'll love to see be an animated series? Oh, is there a comic book that I would love to see? Yeah. All of the Kyle Higgins run of the Boom Studios Power Rangers comics. I don't know why Power Rangers was never an animated series. They never adapted. That could be like the ideal medium for it. There was a little test like footage leaked several years ago of like a CG animated Power Rangers movie, and it looks so good. I wish they would do it. That would be so cool. That's what I want to see adapted. All that stuff from Tommy's inclusion to Shattered Grid would be amazing to see in an animated series. Some YouTubers have done what if videos. This is from The End, that's his name. For Avatar: The Last Airbender, I think fanscription would be cool. Yeah, I'm mulling it over. What are my thoughts on the Lego Batman movie? The Spectacular Spider Kevin says, well, I really liked it. I really enjoyed the Lego Batman movie. Angel of Death, if you want to know more about Avatar, like what happened to Zuko's mom, I really recommend comics. Yes, my brother talks to me about The Promise all the time and the other stuff that they have. I really should check that out. It answers a lot of the questions. Yes, that's what I've heard. Jake Schuster says, I like that belt, but I'm more of a Big Eagle fan. A lot of people like the Big Eagle, the Attitude Era belt. I like it too, but I'm an undisputed championship guy. That's my favorite. Okay, we've been going for over an hour. Wow. I'm going to get through some of the other stuff that I had here, as long as we still got 40-something people watching, so I'll keep going as long as you guys are going to stick around here for a while longer. And keep asking your questions in the chat. I'll get back to it in a few minutes here. But so we talked about Justice League, Superman the Animated Series, all the other stuff that I would do if I ever had the chance. It's not looking likely right now, guys, but if you want an order to it, number 1 would be Batman Beyond. Number 2 would probably be Brave and the Bold. 3 would probably be Superman. And then Justice League and Justice League Unlimited with the Batman at the bottom. Again, you don't want me to talk about the Batman. You guys would hate me. So I did want to bring up, this is a big thing. I talked about it in today's review at the end. Next year, I am going to still do some BatMay videos. I'm calling it an epilogue, so we'll see what I'm going to be covering. I can tell you for sure that I'm going to be doing Batman Mask of the Phantasm. These are going to be longer videos, by the way. I'm going to do 5 videos. So I think every Tuesday in May. 5 long videos. They're going to be long. They're going to be full of information, in my opinion. Like, I will make them worth it. I hope for you guys to stick around for it. But I will do Mask of the Phantasm. I will do Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero. I will do Batman Mystery of the Batwoman. The other 2, I'm not sure about. I'm actually going to put up a poll in the chat to see what you guys want me to cover. So I'm going to put up a poll right now. So, what would you want covered in BatMay 2024? I have 4 options, I think, here. So I'm going to put Return of the Joker, Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, and leave your comments about what you guys want me to cover as well if I don't have anything there. World's Finest the World's Finest 3-parter, which also known as the Batman Superman movie from Superman the Animated Series. World's Finest, can I spell? World's Finest, Batman and Harley Quinn, which a lot of people say is in the DCAU. I know that's debatable, but it is. If it's something you guys want me to cover, I will consider it. Gotham Girls. And it looks like I can only add 4 options. Let me see. Well, you know what? I'll take out Batman and Harley Quinn and put in The Lost Episode, which is the SNES game that has a lot of original animations. But if you want Batman and Harley Quinn covered, let me know. Here we go. I'm putting it out there. Let's see if it worked. There you go. What would you want covered in BatMay 2024? Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. World's Finest. Let me expand that. The World's Finest 3-parter from Superman the Animated Series. The Batman the Animated Series Lost Episode, which are the cutscenes from the game, the Super Nintendo game. Gotham Girls, which is in the DCAU canon, but is like a Flash animation show. Or Batman and Harley Quinn. We got 2 slots left. So I'm going to keep asking you guys probably throughout the year until we get up there. What 2 other ones do you want me to cover? I'm seeing Return of the Joker a lot right there. But I'll leave that up for a while. Yeah. So let me see. Again, guys, I don't want to say I'll never do a BatMay Beyond or cover any other stuff, but it's not something that's going to be happening next year at the very, very least. So don't get your hopes up, but at the same time, don't abandon all hope, because again, I'm going to be covering some BatMay stuff. Maybe I could keep it going if it's just doing like 5 videos a month or something, like per year. I don't know. I don't want to abandon it, but it's just a matter of time and energy. And I went through so much stuff with just this past year of just sitting here and editing so much for BatMay and those frickin' Batman and Robin videos for Fanscription. My gosh. So many hours that I developed all these problems, all these physical ailments. And since BatMay's been over, I've finally been able to get back into the gym and stuff and actually move around, do physical activity, and I feel so much better. I can't go back to doing all that stuff all the time. I'm starting to have like carpal tunnel in my hands and a bunch of other stuff. So like I can't handle that same workload, unfortunately. But I'm never going to stop talking about this stuff in some form. So you don't have to worry about that. I did see a couple people bring up this thing about Patreon. I know Tamara's on Patreon. Channel Awesome doesn't have any kind of Patreon. I don't think we're ever going to get something like that. But is that something you guys would be interested in? Because I don't like asking for money unless it's something I really, really believe in. Like maybe one day if I'm making a film, like an original film, I would make a Kickstarter or something like that. But I mean, is a Patreon something you guys would be willing to contribute to get like exclusive access to like videos or Q&As or subjects that you want covered either in Fanscription or on the Channel Awesome channel or here on my personal channel? Is that something you guys would want to participate in? I'm not like super hot on the idea, but if it's something you guys would be cool with, maybe I would look into it. So let me know about that in the comments there. In terms of other like streams of revenue or whatever you want to call it, I did make up some BatMay merch that I kind of abandoned because of all the work that I had to do for BatMay this year and some copyright things that I was a little worried about. But I made 2 shirts, one that had just the BatMay logo that had like the bat symbol on it. It was a gray shirt. The other one was Batmaniac, which was a cool Joker thing that was like a purple shirt or a white shirt. There's different colors. They had sort of the Dark Knight Heath Ledger thing that had like the 2 eyes like spray painted on the like 2 circles here, and then like a smile was the Bat logo, and I had like that had BatMay, but Niak was like spray painted on it. I thought that was really cool. but I don't know if I'll ever come out with that. But it is another thing maybe we can do down the road if you guys are interested in that. Let me catch up on some of these messages, and then we're going to talk about, stick around, because we're going to talk about my favorite episodes of each year of BatMay. So we're going to start with 2020. It's not in order or anything like that in terms of like ranking. It's just my favorite episodes that I covered in each batch in each year. So stick around for that. Let me get back to some of these questions that you guys got so I don't get too far behind. Let me see here. Sorry. Is that poll still going? Looks like Return of the Joker's running away with it. Okay, let me see. Where did I leave off, guys? Let me see. Where did I leave off? This is from Angel Death. Have you been reading Tom Taylor's Nightwing run? No, I'm not reading any current comics right now outside of like Radiant Black, and I'm still like very behind on that. I would love to read some more current comics. It's just a matter of time. Beyond Infinity asks, Tim Drake's ending is familiar. Have you heard about Batman Who Laughs? Yeah, that's the Scott Snyder thing, right? I've seen that. It's like he's got spikes coming out of his eyes and stuff. It's like a Batman who was poisoned by the Joker when the Joker died or something. It sounds interesting. I've never read it, but Scott Snyder's a very talented writer, and he added so much lore to Batman over the years. I would like to check it out eventually. Let me see. Hidden in the Universal Vault, Twilight Zone movie. Yes, I think I answered that before. I like the Twilight Zone movie from 1983. Master Geek 1234. Aside from Batman, which other series from the DCAU animated universe you also enjoy? Love Superman the animated series. Love Batman Beyond. Love Justice League. I love all of them. Just not as familiar with Zeta Project. But from what I saw, I did like. I was surprised that I liked it so much. Jake Schuster is asking, didn't Ric Flair give that title to Triple H? Maybe. Was he the Raw GM at that point, or the co-owner or whatever, or owner of Raw? It might have been. Let me see. Asks, any personal favorite Twilight Zone eps, I'm guessing? Escape stories? Ethan Owens made into episodes or another. Stories. I'm not sure if I'm reading that right. Retype the question, and I'll read that a little bit later. There is a Super Sentai anime coming out pretty soon. Well, that's the start. Let's get that going. I feel like it always should have been a animated show. Have you ever watched Tales from the Crypt? I have back in the day, but I never rewatched it. It was creepy when I was a kid. I also didn't have whatever it was airing on. I think I saw it here and there. Do you think Wonder Woman is overdue for an animated series? It'd be cool to see an animated Wonder Woman series. Yeah, she's probably very overdue. I'm losing the spot there. Oh no. Let's see. It just jumped. Don't you hate if you're scrolling through chat and it just jumps to the end and you lose your spot? If they were to make a live action Phantasm, who would you like to see casted? I don't know. Amy Adams as Andrea? I think she could fit that. Or Jessica Chastain could be a good Andrea Beaumont. In terms of everyone else, I don't know. I have to think about that. But she's like the other main character from it, so, I mean, those are two good choices, right? Let's see here. Technically, Batman Harley Quinn is connected. Well, yeah, let me know in the chat. I couldn't put it in the poll there, but if you guys want me to review Batman and Harley Quinn, then I will do it if that's the majority choice. Rise of Sinzu. Is that the that's the game, right? I played Batman Vengeance, but I never played that game. It would be cool to kind of talk about Batman Vengeance, but it wouldn't be next year. Batman Mask of the Phantasm would be one personally that I would like to see you cover, but Return of the Joker is another good one. Yeah, I will. It sounds like I'm going to be covering both of those according to this poll. Batman Under the Red Hood. That's my. Don't tell anybody. That's my favorite animated Batman movie is Batman Under the Red Hood. I love that movie. People talking about Return of the Joker. Gotham Girls is on the Birds of Prey TV show. Okay. Have I ever seen the short Batman Strange Days? Yes, I have, and boy, is it good. That's, I think, one of the 75th anniversary shorts that they did. I think they brought Bruce Timm back to do it, which is like a very pulpy kind of monsterish Batman story. And I think that's kind of what we might be getting for that Caped Crusader show that's coming out, which I'm so excited for. But yeah, I love that Strange Days short. That was really cool. I also love the Batman Beyond short that they did. Ignition. So good. Also, the last time we got to hear Kevin Conroy play Old Man Bruce, which is bittersweet, but I'm glad he got to do it one more time. And to hear Will Friedle as Terry McGinnis. Yes, Will Friedle's the man. Let's see here. JR22 Han says, Walter, don't hesitate to let us know how we can help. Well, if Patreon is something you guys would want, I'm seeing Hell Yes from Pitch In from eSpace. Yeah, I mean, if that's something you guys are interested, I don't want to put it up and like have one person donate $1 every month or something, you know. It's got to be if you guys would be willing to do that. So we'll talk about it going forward. But if it's something you guys would be cool with and to get exclusive stuff, then yeah, I'll consider it. Avatar fanscription idea from Adam Dry. If you guys got fanscription ideas, put them in here too. That's always fun. What if Zuko and Azula swapped roles? Oh, that's a good idea. Ben Bingham asks, what's a villain you would have loved to see in Batman the Animated Series? Ooh, that wasn't in the animated series? Ooh, they had a lot of them in there. You know what I would have loved to see? And it wasn't possible because of the time period and stuff, but I would love to see the Court of Owls covered in the animated series. Think of that whole like giant 2-part epic that could have been. To see like Talon and those guys in there, that would have been fun. I think Azrael would have been great if they ever wanted to expand the Broken Bat stuff that they did from the comics with Bane, you know, the Nightfall storyline. That would be really cool. Jean Paul Valley. Yeah, those two characters I would like to see. I'm sure there are more, but I can't think of any right now. JR is asking, do we think I'll do Super Month, Super June? I talked about that earlier. It's not looking likely, but, you know, it would be cool. Are you going to cover the short film Catwoman Chase Me? Probably as a part of the Batman Mystery of the Batwoman review. I'll talk about it. Fanscription idea, animated Batman fan episode. You know what? I would probably do a take off of that. I did like a little pitch for it when I was talking about the Never Fear episode where Bruce loses all fear from the toxin that Scarecrow shoots at him. And I kind of laid out a story. That's probably what I would do if I ever did an animated Batman fanscription. eSpace Productions asks, what's the legality of BatMay merch since it's based on Batman, obviously? I think I have to change the Bat logo because I was using like an adaptation of the Dark Knight logo, but changing it a little bit. I think I have to use like a different Bat logo or something. But that's kind of the holdup. But if you guys want something like that, I mean, I think they were really cool shirts. So maybe I would give them to you guys if, or put them up for sale if you guys are interested. Silver Screen Slasher says, absolutely, I want to see more amazing stuff from you. However, the choice of creating a Patreon is up to you. Well, thanks. If you guys, again, it's going to be if people are interested in that kind of thing. I think Patreon is something only you can do, Beyond says, yeah. Besides Mask of the Phantasm, what is your favorite Batman animated movie? I talked about earlier, Batman Under the Red Hood. Love it. Who's your favorite live-action Batman? Mine is Michael Keaton. It's still Christian Bale to me. Christian Bale is one of my favorite actors ever, and I love Michael Keaton. Don't get me wrong. Love Michael Keaton. Christian Bale, even though the voice, I think it was under control in Batman Begins, and then kind of went off the deep end in Dark Knight and Rises, but I love that guy. He's my number one Batman. Love it. Let's see. This is from Mark. When we had our last podcast interview, you mentioned the possibility of releasing the original Infinity Trinity short. Are you still thinking of that? Also, any original films in the pipeline? I was planning on doing that and kind of got caught up in work. This is like episode 0 of the Infinity Trinity, which is like the prequel short film that I made before I even made the series. I like re-edited it and tried to make it more digestible. Put music in it from our artist or our musician Harley, who does the composing for the Infinity Trinity series, and it sounded really good, looked really good. I needed to get it colored and change a couple other things around, but maybe later this year I could put that up. Maybe around the time I put up the commentary tracks for the series that's out there. So yeah, maybe that would be really cool to put that up. I also have I want to do like a 10-year anniversary of a documentary I made about my friend Barry, who's a professional wrestler who had cancer years ago and overcame it. I kind of want to do like this 10-year catch up with him, put up the original documentary and the new interview with him. So maybe then I could put some more stuff up there. I also have my thesis film that I never put online that I kind of still need to fix up. So I do have some stuff in the pipeline I would like to release. It's just not like, it's not like on the level that I could do now. That's kind of like when I look at Infinity Trinity, it's like, this is good. By the end, I think it gets really good. Like I'm proud of the work I did there, but it's definitely like an uphill climb from quality from the first to the fifth episode. And I think that now we could blow the fifth one out of the water with like how much I've learned and you know, everyone who worked on it has learned. We could really make something special. So one day I hope to make another film and make it great. Hopefully with your guys' help. Let's see here. Alan says, I know you said Perchance to Dream is your favorite episode, but my favorite episode is The Laughing Fish. It's been a favorite since started watching the show, and you remember the old VHS tapes. Yeah, that's awesome. I had the Joker one and wore that thing out. Yeah, I understand. I didn't watch Sliders. Sorry, Myth Ghost. Do you watch other wrestling promotions other than WWE? I keep up with AEW. And I follow whatever Matt Cardona is doing. So wherever he's going, I'm paying attention to. But that's about it right now. I used to go to shows like every month for Windy City Pro Wrestling. That's WCPW. That's the thing that my friend Barry was in for a long time before that got shut down. I was there like all the time. It was so much fun. But yeah, AEW is probably the main one that I follow outside WWE. I will not do Hidden's asking if I do a Twilight Zone from the 80s show. I'm not going to be doing that one. Sorry. Man, this thing likes jumping, doesn't it? Let's see. I think Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero is underrated. What do you think? Plus, Dean Jones and Marilu Henner make cameos. I don't know if it's underrated or not. I got to see what people really think of it. But I do think it's a really good movie. I like it a lot. Rob, I remember I gave him that as like homework to watch when he was writing the Batman and Robin fanscription. He was like, it's okay. Like, well, I think it's better than okay, but I don't think it's the best animated story they told either. Who's my pick to beat Roman Reigns? Well, Virgil, I want Cody to win. Cody should have won at WrestleMania. So I want Cody. Really want Cody. And I want Roman to feud with Jay and Sammy and all that stuff after he loses the title. And hopefully Jay can have a big singles match with him, and that could be a great feud. I would also love to see Rikishi involved in that storyline. I mean, I really hope they do something like that. Another question, what kind of content you're thinking of producing in the future? Well, fanscription's something new every month, ain't it? So doing fanscription, still doing Twilight-Tober Zone, so my schedule's packed for the rest of the year. Next year I'm going to be doing, not as much BatMay, but I don't think I'm going to be adding anything. I think what I really want to focus on is making my own stuff. Like, I really want to make more films. I want to at least write more. The very least, I got to a point last year or earlier this year where I was so inundated with work and I was just constantly sitting at the computer and I was going through all these physical problems because all I was doing was sitting and sometimes standing because I have a standing desk, that I was like, I have all these concepts for stories and I don't care if anybody ever reads them. I just want to write them. And that's kind of was my breaking point, where I decided I have to focus on that. So that's stuff that I want to make, but I don't know if you guys are going to see any of that stuff. I mean, hopefully one day, but I really just want to get back to writing my own stuff. It's fun doing fanscription. It's great practice, but it's not my own characters or anything, Let me see. People talking about Batman and Harley Quinn was a letdown. Yeah, and her farting in the Batmobile was the last straw. I agree with that. If they did a live action Dark Knight Returns, who do you think should be cast? Live action Dark Knight Returns. I know they talked about Clint Eastwood, right, years ago. I think that would be fun. He's too old now, but I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. Jonah Hex movie from 2010. I think I watched that, and I remember not liking it. Yeah, we did, because we did the top 5 worst DC movies, and it was really bad. Batman Mr. Free Sub-Zero is my favorite Batman animated movie. There you go, Alan. Let's see, people like it. Nice hat. Thank you, Jake. Not a fan of Batman Harley Quinn. I see this. Court of Owls and Azrael are in the Adventures Continued. Oh, that's exciting. Well, I'm excited to check that out. I've got those first 2 volumes. I just got to crack them open. I've got a bunch of other stuff, too, that I haven't read. Black Mask. That would be cool. Yeah, Black Mask and Corrosive Man. That would be funny. Let's see here. Have you picked up any of the Lightning Collection weapons? I have... Oh, did I get any of the Lightning Collection weapons? I think all the stuff I had was... What was the line they did before? I'm blanking now. Before the Lightning Collection, they did the... what was it? I don't think I've picked up any of the weapons from that. But the line that Bandai released, I got the Power Sword and a few other things. Like the gun, I got the Power Blaster and all that. I'm creating a story of Power Rangers. This is from Beyond Infinity. Monsterverse Morphin Rangers like Godzilla and Kong. What do you think of Power Rangers Monster Storm idea? They did a Power Rangers Godzilla comic. They're doing a crossover now, so yeah, it's a good idea. People are doing it. Someone's saying good night. I think it's from JR says good night. Good night, JR. Thanks for stopping by. What if Syndrome won The Incredibles? And also, did you read any of the short stories that were the basis for Twilight Zone episodes? I love Beaumont and Matheson. I did read some of them, and they're great. Yeah. I just read one for the first episode I'm going to be covering this year, which is not by Beaumont or Matheson, but it's cool to see where the inspiration came from. Any Spider-Man the Animated Series love? BJ. Yes, I'm your guy. I love the animated series of Spider-Man from the 90s. What if Rita Repulsa and Skeletor started dating? That's a good one. Technically, Conroy was a live-action Batman. Yes, he was in the Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's a very different Batman. Do you have any intention of following up the Little Mermaid fanscription? Maybe. I kind of like that I just ended that dark because we never had like a bad ending fanscription, like a solo one like that. Maybe. We'll see. Godzilla Marathon. No, that's not for me, unfortunately. I love Godzilla, but that wouldn't be something I'd be interested in doing. Chase Me is my favorite appearance of Catwoman DCU. Personally, I never thought Kevin Conroy and Adrienne Barbeau had amazing chemistry. Adrienne was never really the Catwoman voice I imagined. Well, I liked her. Thoughts about Batman Beyond, your personal opinion about the show. Love Batman Beyond. Every episode wasn't great. I think they said that the second and third season, quality-wise, didn't get as much attention as the first season did. I think the culmination of that show, well, I guess there are 2 peaks. The very beginning, the Rebirth story, and the Batman Beyond movie, The Return of the Joker, are the best Batman Beyond content of everything they wrote. Let's see. Have I seen the Batman 2004 animated show? Robert Englund plays the Riddler. Oh, no, I didn't know he played the Riddler. I heard he played the Scarecrow in a video game or something. But, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that series. I talked about it a little while ago. So I won't be covering that one, unfortunately. Can't stay on with some other stuff. Oh, thank you for Connor. Thanks for staying on. He has to go. Thank you for hopping on here. See you later, Connor. Who's your favorite wrestler? My favorite wrestler is Shawn Michaels. Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. He's always number 1 to me. Will I review JLU Epilogue, as it's primarily a Batman Beyond story? Probably not, but I don't know. If we keep going with BatMay as like a less frequent thing, then maybe. Because I do love that story. Although the twist at the end, I'm a little iffy on. Will you reprise your role as Zack Snyder? I don't think I'm going to be doing the Zack Snyder stuff anymore, honestly, unless Doug has me in a Nostalgia Critic episode. I don't know. I think we beat that horse enough. I think continue my own projects. I hope so too. Thank you, Master Geek. Any ideas for Disney Zombies fanscription? That would be awesome. I made a Disney zombie in the Aladdin one. His mom was like a zombie, so kind of already did it, sort of. I want Jay to be the reason Roman Reigns to lose the titles. I agree, Jake. Jay's got so much momentum. I hope he becomes a single star after this. I'm really excited to see where they go with him. Favorite Superman film? The original. Superman the movie, 1978. One of my favorite superhero movies. Probably one of my favorite movies ever. Batman and Harley did have one great thing. Rob Paulson duetting with himself on Don't Pull Your Love. Okay? Here's a fanscription idea. What if Ahsoka Tano was in the original trilogy? Not a bad idea. A continuation of the What if Qui-Gon Jinn trained Anakin storyline? Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Another fanscription, what if? What if the entire TOS cast, this is Star Trek, for Star Trek Generations and another one. I'm not a huge Star Trek guy. I like the Next Generation, but I haven't gotten as into Star Trek as I probably should. Also considering doing fantasy booking for wrestling. Because of copyright, we can't really do any wrestling or Power Ranger stuff for fanscription, unfortunately. Even if we don't use footage, they come after us for using pictures. Did I read Tom King's Batman Catwoman run? It was really wasn't really a fan. I didn't like what he did with Andrea's Phantasm. Glad it isn't continuity. I have not read that. You could do a Zack Snyder Farewell video talking about how James Gunn is taking over. I don't know. I think I've done enough Zack Snyder stuff. Unless Doug asks me, I don't think I'll be doing another one. Unless something really weird happens. Any original film ideas you'd be comfortable sharing, or do you kind of want kept secret just in case something ever gets picked up? I mean, I just have concepts right now. Like they're not full stories. They're just concepts and ideas that I know are very fertile to grow stories from. So it's whenever I get excited about something, I physically react to it and I start writing notes and I get distracted from other things. And there's been a few of those stories are in my head right now. Just nothing I would share that would really make any sense to anybody else at this point. Who would you cast in a Batman Beyond live action movie? Will Friedle. I don't know who else. I'd have to think about it. Have you ever seen Toei Spider-Man? I have not. I know about it. I've never seen it. What did you think of the Back to the Future? What would you think of a Back to the Future Ghostbusters crossover? Well, I thought the Back to the Future Transformers crossover was pretty good in the comic, so maybe that would be good too. Fanscription, Batman and Batmonk team up. Yes, chipmunks. Have you ever read Tom King's Mr. Miracle? On my list, have not read Mr. Miracle yet, but I plan on it. Is there a story from the DCAU comics you would have loved to have seen adapted as episodes from the DCAU comics? Oh, I haven't read a lot of the DCAU comics, so I can't say that I have a favorite. Although that really cool one with Poison Ivy not being the real Poison Ivy would be cool to see in animated form. The state of the Channel Awesome Studios. Could you tell us? Well, Master Geek, I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to share because of what's going on over there right now. It's very messy. But, I mean, Doug showed in his video that it's all leaking all over the place. The roof is destroyed. It's just water everywhere. We're not able to work out of there. So it's in shambles. Not our fault either. Have I seen the Spectacular Spider-Man series? I have. I did a comparison on this channel that you could check out, comparing it to the animated series from the 90s. Really, really liked the Spectacular Spider-Man series. Inscription idea, what if the sequel trilogy was the Thrawn trilogy instead? Well, I think you just answered the question. I mean, just read the books, right? I don't know, maybe eventually. Monica says, hi, hello. Okay. Let me get back to some of these agenda things and we'll come back. There's still some people on, so we've been going for a long time. Let me get to my favorite episodes from each year of BatMay. My favorite episodes that I covered in BatMay for this here animated series. Let's see. The first one is from 2020, The Gray Ghost. This is one of my favorite episodes. Of course, this is from the first 31 episodes of the show. Adam West came back to voice the Gray Ghost, Simon Trent. What a great idea. I love that Batman has his own shadow, basically, his version of the shadow that he was a fan of. I love this so much. One of my favorite episodes of the show. I love the retro the retro feel of it and the music, and Bruce watching the film reel. It's some great animated moments in that too. Absolutely love it. Moving on from that, Two-Face Part 1 and 2. How could I not put this on here? The origin of Two-Face from the animated series. Amazing episode. Amazing two-parter. The animation is way stronger in the first episode, though. So there is that to consider. Although Two-Face, one of the best iterations of that character, period. Speaking of best iterations of a character, Feet of Clay, Parts 1 and 2, especially, I think, Part 2, introducing Clayface into the series was my favorite. One of my favorite villains. I can't say the favorite, but one of my favorites in the whole show. Seeing that animated sequence where he is just going from persona to persona, all the different characters he's played in his movies was perfect. Absolutely love it. It was dark, it was grim, but it was emotionally effective. Speaking of emotionally effective, it's Never Too Late. An episode that doesn't really feature any major Batman villains. It's not even really about Batman at all. It's about these two brothers who are on the opposite sides of morality. One became a priest, one became this gangster, and how they reconcile with Batman sort of being this dark angel that sort of brings them together. And it just having all of the criminal elements in the background. So good. So good. I love It's Never Too Late. It's one of my top episodes overall. Heart of Ice. What is there to say that hasn't already been said about Heart of Ice? It's one of the best reimaginings of a character ever in all of fiction. Mr. Freeze was amazing. This version of Mr. Freeze, Michael Ansara, was great. Animated, fantastic. Spectrum Studios, in one of their last animated pieces, knocked it out of the park. Paul Dini writing the script. I think Bruce Timm may have directed this one. And he also did a story by credit, I think. Heart of Ice is classic Batman the Animated Series. Here's number 1, Perchance to Dream. Perchance to Dream. This is my favorite episode of the entire series. I love seeing what Bruce's life would have been like if he didn't take the dark path of becoming Batman, if his parents were still alive. I would have loved to have seen this longer. I know that it's not exactly plausible, but I love the twist of him finding out that he's in a dream because he can't read a book because the words don't make any sense, because you can't live in a dream because it's a part of the other side of the brain that reads from when you're dreaming. So this was great. The reveal of Mad Hatter at the end was fantastic. I love how they subtly weave in the Mad Hatter theme. I love the clock tower sequence in the graveyard. This is the best Batman ever got. And it had some great episodes after that. So, man. So that's from 2020. That is from 2020. My favorite episodes of Batman the Animated Series. Those are like a small group, not in any order. That's not in like from least to best, even though that last one was my favorite. Those are my favorite of that first batch that I covered. So 2022, or 2021, I should say, we covered a bunch more, but we were still stuck in the first season. This was all part of the first season of Batman the Animated Series, which is crazy to think about, right? But when we moved on to the latter half of the first season, there was still a lot of good stuff in there. I think you guys will recognize this first one I'm going to talk about. Almost Got Him. Of course, I think it's Doug's favorite episode of the show. This, I think, has the most views of any single BatMay episode on the entire channel. It is a great one. The atmosphere, all the characters coming together, all the villains, the twist with Batman and Croc, the funny lines, like everything hit in this episode, and everyone got their own little vignette, which worked out fantastic. Poison Ivy's got a great little story in it. Two-Face with the giant penny. I mean, they got a great musical cue with the Batman the Animated Series theme in there when Batman is strapped to the penny and it's flipping. It's great. It's all great. Joker stuff's awesome. It all works out fantastic. You get a great shot of Batman and Catwoman at the end, outlined by moonlight. It's just so good. So Almost Got Him, gotta be up there. Also, Heart of Steel, parts 1 and 2, one of my favorite, more sci-fi weird episodes of this show. Absolutely loved Heart of Steel, part 1 and 2. I love the concept of Hardak. I loved how Barbara Gordon got involved in this. She was really integral to some of this plot. This is pre-Batgirl too, and it showed how resourceful she was and sort of foreshadowed what she would become. Love Heart of Steel. Bryn Stevens was a great writer for this show, and this just hammered it home. This was the first, I think, your first episode. I think Kevin Altieri directed this as well, which how could you go wrong with that? Speaking of Heart of Steel, though, the sequel is even better. His Silicon Soul is the one part episode sequel to this, where the replicant of Batman is made, but he doesn't know that he is a replicant. And it's so good. It's so good. Everything about this episode is great. You should watch it right now. It's one of my top 5 probably episodes of the entire series. This one's pretty close too. I Am the Night, about Batman blaming himself for Gordon taking the fall, getting hurt in a scuffle there, and kind of what's going on with him, and Batman questioning himself. It's great. It's great to see self-doubt and how he overcomes that as Batman and Bruce Wayne. It's just solid stuff. Another Clayface episode, Mudslide. It had some of the most creative visuals, I think, in the series, and it continued his story really well. He's trying to become human, but it just doesn't work out, and the setting of that rain and how he falls off of that giant cliff at the end and dissipates into the water. Oh, my goodness. So good. Another one that doesn't get talked about quite as much is Paging the Crime Doctor. This one gives background on Bruce's family, a little bit about his father, and, seeing Bruce so vulnerable at the end of this episode. We've never seen him more vulnerable in any other DCAU story, I don't think. It's very unique in that way, where he just becomes a little kid for a second and asks this guy who was his dad's friend what his dad was like. Amazing. Just for that moment alone. But the rest of it's great too, especially Leslie Tompkins having a big role. She was an underutilized presence. Talked about this one a little bit earlier, but the Laughing Fish was awesome. It's my favorite Joker episode of the show. Adapted, I think, from a comic. And I think it's been used in, this kind of story has been used in other ways too. But man, love the Laughing Fish. Love that there's no title card. It's just rain and we see the Laughing Fish logo, and it's so good. My favorite Joker story in the animated series. Robin's Reckoning, Part 1 and 2. I went into great detail about this in my review. Love Robin's Reckoning. Part 2 is not as good as Part 1, especially from an animation perspective. But some of the moments in there when the rope swings back and you don't see the Graysons fall, you just know what happens just from that visual and the musical cue, is peak Batman the Animated Series. Some of the best stuff that they've ever done. So that was 2021. I'll get back to your guys' chats and everything as soon as we get through this. But 2022 was, of course, the shortened version of BatMay. We didn't get to do a full 31 episodes that year, but we did get to do 16, and there were some good ones in there. So let's talk about those. These are my favorites from 2022 of BatMay. Avatar. My goodness, this Ra's al Ghul and Talia Batman story. It was so creepy and weird and so like Indiana Jones-esque with their world traveling, and having this zombie queen at the end was the perfect payoff. And it was so weird. I just loved it. I loved it. One of my favorite, more like peculiar Batman the Animated Series episodes that they did, more supernatural. We got Baby Doll. You can't talk about this season of the show. This is season 2, I think, finally, without talking about Baby Doll. Everyone loves Baby Doll. Everyone was asking about it since I started covering BatMay, and it's one of my favorites too. Let's see what else we got here. Harley Quinn, great story about Batman kind of using the help of Harley Quinn to locate the Joker and everything, and there's so many great moments in that. I should say Harley Quinn's musical number, and just seeing her interact with Batman and Robin stuff was awesome. House and Garden was such a tragic story. Such a sad, scary, twisted story with Poison Ivy, probably her best episode. That and Pretty Poison. Man, this one was great and twisted, and just, you felt for her by the end. And at the same time, she did some really screwed up stuff. So, House and Garden's up there. Trial. Can't talk about this part of the show without talking about Trial. This was originally supposed to be a movie, I believe. One of the animated Batman movies that they were talking about, this script, which brought all of the villains together to put Batman on trial for his crimes against them, which is a twist. But a lot of things about it worked really well. A lot of people are fans of this one, so I don't think I have to talk too much about it. But yeah, this one's one of my favorites as well. So we've gotten through every previous year of BatMay. But for 2023, for this year that we just got through, it's BatMay Day, guys. It still is BatMay Day. What are my favorite episodes that I covered for this year? Well, there's a lot to choose from. Let's go through it. Besides Trial. Uh-oh. Something's frozen. No. There we go. Sorry, guys. Deep Freeze. I debatably like this better than Heart of Ice. I love the Walt Disney Epcot stuff that they do in this. I think Grant Walker is an amazing villain that they should have used more. I love the kind of halfway babyface turn that Mr. Freeze does in this. We see that Nora's still alive. The setting of Oceania, the mega plan that they have going on there, how Bruce and Dick Grayson are involved in the story is so good. And also that robot at the beginning. Great stuff. I love Deep Freeze. Next up here, we have Growing Pains, which I think is another one of Doug's favorites that I remember. But yeah, he's right. This one's amazing. This is another heartbreaking story. We got to see some Hey Arnold action in there with Helga Pataki voicing the character in here, who ends up being part of Clayface, and it's a defining episode for Tim Drake, who I really loved. I talk about it in the reviews, but I really loved Tim Drake in this rewatch. He could have been Batman. I would have loved it. That could maybe be a what if fanscription. What if Tim Drake became Batman in the animated series? I think that would have been awesome. Legends of the Dark Knight, another one of my favorites. I love seeing different interpretations of Batman. I love the idea that certain people see him different ways. We have the Dark Knight Returns gritty version of him. We have the lighter, almost Adam West type version of Batman, and how these kids interpret how he is. And then you see the real Batman at the end with Firefly, and it's okay. But, you know, what's really like top tier about this episode are those little vignettes that they did. Mad Love. Just talked about it recently. Mad Love's awesome. I love Mad Love. It's a great book, and I think the book is better than the episode because they put a few things in there that flesh things out a little bit more. But, I mean, this is maybe the most impactful episode of this series because it has endured for Harley Quinn for so long now that this is part of her origin, and they've never really strayed from it that much. It's important from a continuity perspective, like a legendary perspective of an origin of a villain or, you know, tweener, I guess, that Harley Quinn is. And it really shows how manipulative the Joker is. It's great. And I think without this, you probably wouldn't have had the Harley Quinn show that's so popular now. Next up, we have Old Wounds. My goodness, I love Richard Grayson, one of my favorite characters in all of comics. And to see him stand up to Batman in that moment was great. I mean, he's angry, he's upset, and he's maybe not exactly in the right at that moment, but you understand his frustration. And considering what happens after this, when his foster dad starts dating his girlfriend, it's the worst thing, just like the worst twist in DCAU history. I hate that they did that, but it makes this even more tragic. And to see him come back as Nightwing and everything, this is one of the best Robin stories that I've ever watched or read. Over the Edge, another great one. There's a lot of great The New Batman Adventure episodes of this show. A lot more than people remember. Over the Edge is just that what if scenario. It's kind of a fanscription because it all ends up being a dream, but Barbara Gordon dies at the beginning of this episode. We see the revenge taken by Commissioner Gordon against Batman and how they face off against each other and the extremes that they go to, specifically Gordon, to bring him in. My goodness gracious. It is very important, I would say, to seeing like a good guy versus good guy thing, even though it was a dream in terms of Gordon and Batman, but also it just makes you think about what would happen. And then having Barbara confess at the end that, you know, she wants to tell her dad that she's Batgirl, but he kind of already knows, which I love because Commissioner Gordon's not a dummy. That makes everything even better. And it's just a great, great episode. The last one, the last batch, the last favorite episode of this batch was Second Chance, which was a story that I kind of wish was the last one for Two-Face, where we see him kind of go off into the sunset, and maybe he would have been healed by that surgery. Maybe he would have, gone on to have a healed life, but it didn't happen. We see him come back in the new Batman adventures, and, things kind of get mucked up from there. But yeah, this was one of my favorites, just to see the still there relationship and friendship between Bruce and Harvey Dent. I can't underscore how much that was I appreciated seeing that continuity keep going. And I would have liked to see more of it. I would have liked to see maybe Harvey works on the side of good for a little while or something. I think that would have been awesome. But as is, this is a good one-off. And maybe as a headcanon kind of thing, maybe this was the last episode. Who knows? Okay. So that's pretty much all the BatMay stuff that I had to talk about today, guys. I could go through the chat really quick. I have a couple other things that I'll bring up here before we go out. I know some people are heading out. It's getting a little late. I'll read through some of the chat. We'll go over a few last minute things, and we can get out of here if you guys want. Let's see here. Let's see where I left off. This is from XX Sand T21XX. 3 questions regarding fanscription. 1. Have you considered a BTAS fanscription, such as a what if Batman accepted Ra's al Ghul's offer in the Demon's Quest? And 2. What's the next fanscription this year? Number 1, if I were ever to do a Batman the Animated Series one, like I talked about before, it'd probably be for Never Fear. But I don't know if I'll ever do that. We'll see. Your second question, it's kind of up in the air what's next now. We were supposed to do an Indiana Jones one, but we're having trouble on a few fronts on that. So we might wait to come out with that until later. And if that's the case, then we're going to put up the compilation of all 3 parts of the Batman and Robin fanscription as one video. So it's either that or Indiana Jones. We'll see. But there will be some fanscription video out next month. Asks, this is a fanscription thing. What if Frollo drowned Quasi in the Disney Hunchback of Notre Dame? Might be interesting. And are you excited for James Gunn's DC Universe? Any favorite projects? I'm excited to see what he does with Superman. Superman Legacy is what I'm looking forward to the most. Anything else? We'll see what happens. I'm not a huge fan of the Grant Morrison Batman and Robin run that he seems to be basing that Brave and the Bold movie off of, so we'll see. I really don't like Damian Wayne at all, so I'm not really looking forward to that, but maybe it'll change my mind. Let me see here. And then we have some stuff about you guys reacting to my favorite episodes from each year. Let's see what we got here. Chance to Dream is a classic. Yes, it is. Oh, Riddler's Reform is a good episode too, Angel of Death. I agree. Riddler was a good villain. I just wish he was in a few more episodes. Appointment in Crime Alley is a great one. I agree. Silver Screen Slasher. I agree. Baby Doll is great. Almost Gone was another great. Yep. There's so many good episodes of this show. It's impossible to come up with a top 10. We tried a few times, but I was so upset because we can't leave this off and this off. It's tough. It's a great show. Master Geek 1234, thoughts about reenactments reviews? Do you think you guys going to do another one in the future? Talking about Nostalgia Critic, like the what do you call it? The clipless reviews. I think Doug said he's not doing those anymore, but that's not up to me. So, let's see here. Mudslide, love for Mudslide. Myth Ghost asking about the Batman show. I'm not a big fan of the Batman. Talked about it a little bit earlier. But, I know people like it. So if you like it, that's awesome. Let's see. People talking about Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn was great in the show. It's what created her. Wasn't the Sub-Zero movie originally going to be a Bane movie? Yeah, they were thinking about making a Bane movie, but it didn't work out. Return of the Joker. It looks like Return of the Joker won that poll, guys. So I'll put up some more on social media, but it looks like that and World's Finest were the top two for take up those last two spots for next year. Thank you, Master Geek, for the compliment. Let's see. Virgil asks, when you read comics, whose voices do you hear? Most of mine are the 90s animated series cast. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I hear Kevin Conroy, I hear Lauren Lester. Yeah, that's kind of like most of the time. I hear Mark Hamill. I go like in between Mark Hamill and Heath Ledger. And it's just kind of wherever my brain's at that point. My favorite TNB episode is hands down Over the Edge. Yes. A lot of love for that out there. I know I'm Jam 4077. You're not the only one who hates Bruce and Barbara pair up. Yep, I know. I think Bruce Timm and a few of those guys are the only people who like that. Have you read the issue of Batman Black and White, Two of a Kind, which is canon and is a sequel to Second Chance? I don't consider that canon. I don't think it's canon. I like the story well enough, but I don't think it's canon. It's sort of about, if you haven't read it, Harvey Dent is healed and gets broken up again by these two twins and then burns his face again. It's kind of a roundabout story. Have you heard of Injustice Gods Among Us? Yes, we played that a few times for Tournament Tuesday way back in the day. I haven't read any of the books or anything, and I haven't seen the animated movie. But yeah, I like the story that I saw in the cutscenes of the video game. Batman the Animated Series is like Seinfeld. Every episode seems like a classic. The show is that good. I agree. If someone was to replace Kevin Conroy, who would you pick? There's no replacing him. I thought about like who's like the voice of Batman now? Who's like most synonymous with him? If I were to pick like a favorite of like the animated Batman voices that I've heard, and I haven't heard all the animated movies, so I haven't heard everyone yet, but I like Bruce Greenwood a lot from the Under the Red Hood movie. I think he's a great Batman. But in terms of who is most identified now, I think it's Diedrich Bader. I think it's got to be. Batman the Brave and the Bold does a great job. Of course, he's a different kind of Batman, more lighter tone, but still has the deep voice and talks like this. And of course, he voices him in the Harley Quinn show. I think it's got to be Diedrich Bader. I think he is kind of the de facto voice of Batman now, in my opinion. Let's see. Since you hated Riddler's TNBA, the Batman Gotham Adventures comics give him an awesome third design. Well, that's cool. With the new suit. All right, cool. I'm going to read that eventually. Bad credit card. I don't get mad. I'm not Doug. worst Batman villain in your opinion? Oh, I don't know. They're all got something that decent. I don't have to think about that. Would you want to be a part of DC ranking show on various bat suits of DC ranking? I think we might have done a bat suit thing or something like that. I don't know. Maybe a top 5 in the future if we haven't done it. Okay. Talking about the different iterations of Clayface and stuff. All right. Yeah. So, guys, BatMay. BatMay is over as we know it, but it will still go on in some form. I wanted to quickly address a few things. So this is fanscription related. We just came out with our What If Spider-Man 5 Happened fanscription. We retitled it to What If the Lizard Was in the Raimi Spider-Man movies or something. So that's continue on that story. I'll say this, because the 3 and 4 that we did, What If Venom Wasn't in Spider-Man 3, What If Spider-Man 4 Happened, are very popular. A lot of people really liked it. And people who have seen this new one so far, I've been blown away by how much people like it. I'm honestly a little surprised. So people were asking why it was shorter. So it's 34 minutes, I think. I know because Spider-Man 4 was like over an hour and there was no voice acting in it. Some people were a little let down with that. And I understand. I'll say the voice acting thing. I may have mentioned this earlier, but I'll repeat it here. We don't have a studio to go to. I can't bring people in to be there to direct them while they're doing their voiceovers. And we do a remote call, like over the phone. Someone's got a mic sometimes, but a lot of the time the quality of the mics varies, so it sounds way different from someone's talking. It sounds way too inconsistent. And if I'm not in the room with the person, a lot of the time the performance isn't exactly what I'm looking for, like what I'm trying to say. I have to be in person. They have to see my face and see what I'm trying to tell them, to really get it, because I'm not a great director yet. Yet, I guess. I don't know if I'm going to be a great director, but you know what I mean. So that's kind of why we didn't have the voice acting there. It's mostly because we don't have a place to go all in meet where we can knock that out, and scheduling that is very difficult. Number two, our fanscriptions, and I try to tell you guys this, our fanscriptions are not the norm. Hour and a half fanscriptions, that is not plausible every month. Just not doable, especially with BatMay and all, and Twilight Tover Zone and all this. Half hour, I'll explain it this way. Fanscription by itself is a full-time job. Just fanscription. The writing, the editing, which takes forever because you have to create something out of nothing with footage and pictures and artists' renditions and stuff like that. Writing takes a long time because I want this to be good. I have all these post-it notes all over the place when I was writing the Spider-Man 5 because I need it to be good, or at least good in my view. So that takes a long time. The editing takes forever and ever. I was up for like 4 days in a row till like 3 a.m. trying to finish that video on time. So yeah, doing the hour every month is just not going to happen. Half-hour fanscriptions, like it was before the Batman and Robin video, that is what you can expect. Once in a while we'll do a longer one, but it's just not possible with one guy doing all that stuff. I'm the only one editing it. I mean, I'll get help once in a while from Rob doing some pictures, like some compositing pictures, putting together. Of course, we have Blair doing art character models for us and stuff, but I'm the only one working on it in post most of the time, like all the time. So I'm sorry, like if it lets you guys down with the length or the voiceovers, but that's just how it's going to go. Until we find a place where we can do the voiceovers again, a studio that is not underwater, and the hour things, the hour fanscriptions aren't going to be every month. Just expect half-hour fanscriptions. They're going to be like a TV show, like a half hour, 20 to 30 minutes. That's kind of what I'm aiming for, even though I know some of them are a little bit longer. I went overboard with the Hercules one. I didn't think it was going to be that bad, and then when I started editing, I was like, oh, this is going to be 47 minutes, isn't it? So that was an exception that I made a mistake on. But I like the episode, so at least that turned out okay. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about fanscription as well. I want to keep fanscription going. I really love doing it. I know that everyone who works on it likes doing it. The thing about it is that the how do I explain this? The audience for fanscription makes no real sense. The audience is all over the place. We'll have episodes that are 3 million views. My gosh, like the Lion King one, or even the Back to the Future 4 one, which I never expected to be a 1 million+ view episode. And then we'll have other ones that I know for sure, I'm like, this is gonna do well. Like, people are gonna be into this one, that do like 30,000 or something. I know not everything is based on views, and a lot of the times those fanscriptions get more as, the longer they're up. Like, they find an audience later. Not all the time, but I would say like in 60% of the time they find their audience and end up eventually doing well. But for that series to keep going, people need to watch it, So like we're talking about making the Spider-Man 6 and stuff, it's like, people got to watch the episodes. Otherwise, I got to come up with something else. Otherwise, we're not going to have a fanscription show anymore. So if you guys love that show, sorry, I hit the mic there. If you guys love that show, if you've been following along with it and like participating in like giving ideas and guessing where a story's going to go next and all that stuff, then, share it out. Share it out to your friends and family. That's the most important thing. We're not the Nostalgia Critic. I'm not the Nostalgia Critic. Even though we're on Channel Awesome, it doesn't get that kind of attention. It kind of has to have this groundswell every time, and it's kind of exhausting because you don't have a base audience to work off of that's big enough to sustain it. It's kind of like, is this going to be enough? And then you go on to the next one. So it's not like it's on the chopping block or anything like that right now. But I would say if you guys are into that series, you got to share it out. You got to like, hey, help me out to get it out there somehow, because if they keep going down, then we're going to have to come up with another show or something. And that's not a bad thing. Maybe fanscriptions run its course, but I love making them, and I think I can't believe how positive the comments are for most of those fanscriptions. Because we work really hard on the stories for those, and to see you guys repay that with such kindness and just being so into the stories is like the thrill of my creative life is to see those reactions. And Rob too. Rob says the same thing. Even if an episode that he wrote or we worked on together doesn't do as well view-wise or whatever, to see people are into it so much means everything. So thank you if you're into it. Make sure you just share it out and try to get it out to people, because we're the underdog, man. And I like being the underdog. I don't like being expected to do these amazing, way above the line things. I like keeping expectations low and surprising people, because you'll get something positive every time out of that. So yeah, and people have been asking me also about the podcast, about bringing the podcast back. That me and Rob used to do after every episode. We do like this conversation about how we came up with some of the ideas, and sort of just go off about what we thought of the movie we're covering or rewriting. And those were fun, but again, those didn't do well enough on YouTube to keep going. So that's why we decided to do them once in a while. We will do one for the Batman and Robin video. So either next month or the month after, we're going to be putting up that compilation of the Batman and Robin videos, all three of them as one video. And then the following month will be me and Rob talking about it. We'll take your guys' questions. Maybe we'll do a live form of it, because we've never done that before. But we'll take your guys' questions. We'll talk about what we thought of the creative process, because on that one, it was hell on earth making those Batman and Robin ones for me and Rob. My goodness, it was awful going through that. But we made something positive in the end. And I'm glad that we churned out something that I think is of quality and that Rob thinks is of quality. But after that, I mean, maybe we'll do something on this channel again. If we're not going to do it on Channel Awesome, maybe we can do it on here, like I used to do the countdown continued after top 5. Maybe we could do like a PS postscription or something, where just I'm talking about what I liked about the episode or how I came up with some of the ideas, or giving hints about where we're going to go next. And maybe we can make them live streams like this, where you guys could join us and, ask your questions live, and, go from there. Because this has been really fun. I love going through your guys' chats and all that. So if that's something you want to see, a postscription show on this channel where I'll advertise it at the end of every fanscription, then let me know, and maybe that's something we could do. I think that's it, guys. I was maybe going to do a little bit more, but it's past 9 o'clock. I got to eat dinner, and maybe we'll do something soon. I don't know. Maybe we could play some Smash Bros or something. I'll put my Switch code or friend code, whatever that is, in the chat here. And if you guys send me a request, maybe I'll post on social media soon about what we could do for like I don't know what that means. 1 second. I haven't written in the chat thing here before. Okay, I'll put my friend code in here, and then we could play Smash Bros or Mario Kart or something down the road. We can make like a little event out of it. 95, 50, 68. Feel like an old man typing. I can't see the keys. I think that's it. There you go. So that is my Switch code. And maybe we could talk more on there. It looks like Return of the Joker. I'm looking at the poll. Return of the Joker, 42%. So it looks like that's probably what we're going to cover. And then the World's Finest episodes with Superman after that. So those are probably going to be the 5. We're going to do Mask of the Phantasm. We're going to do Sub-Zero. We're going to do Mystery of the Batwoman, Return of the Joker, and World's Finest. Probably as the 5 episodes for next year. But I'll put more polls up on the social medias. And you guys could vote more on there. But thank you very much for joining me here. I love you guys. Make sure you go to my... How do I get to the Instagram? How do they get the Instagram thing going? Where's the Instagram link? I just started my Instagram. Looks like I have over 100 followers now. That's cool. I'm going to put my Instagram it's in the description, but I'll put it in the chat here. Make sure you follow me on there, and also on Twitter and Facebook and stuff. Love you guys. Thank you so much for watching BatMay over the past 4 years. Together, we were vengeance. We were the night. we were BatMay. And we're going to keep it going in some form. So I hope you come back next year and spread the word on this, because I know a lot of people are still going to be asking. BatMay next year will be just five videos, but they'll be longer.